Number 4 USC women's basketball hosts first Big Ten competition at Galen Center. Women's basketball, December 27, 2024. Story links. USC game notes, PDF. Live stats. Number 4 USC, 11-1, 1-0, versus number 23 Michigan, 10-2, 1-0. Galen Center, Los Angeles, Sunday, December 29, 7 p.m. Series record since 2007 to 2008, tied 1-1, W1. First meeting, 82-61, December 10th, 07, Ann Arbor. Last meeting, W81-53, December 2nd, 08, Galen Center. TV, BTN Talent, Tammy Blackburn and AJ Cannell. Stats. Number 4 USC versus Nebraska, 10-2, 1-0. Galen Center, Los Angeles, Wednesday, January 1, 12 p.m. Series record since 1976 to 77, USC trails 3-5, L5. Last meeting, L67-54, December 29, 19, Las Vegas. Last USC win, 78-60, March 21, 93, Los Angeles. TV, BTN Talent, Krista Blunk and Shots. Stats. This week. Number 4 of 5 USC returns to Galen Center to host its first ever Big Ten Conference games after a short holiday break. The Trojans, 11-1, 1-0 Big Ten, face number 23-25 Michigan, 10-2, 1-0, in a 7 p.m. meeting on December 29th before turning to host Nebraska, 10-2, 1-0, at noon on New Year's Day. Follow along. USC's upcoming games versus Michigan and Nebraska will be broadcast on Big Ten Network. Sunday's game versus the Wolverines will have Tammy Blackburn and AJ Cannell on the call, while Krista Blunk and Shots will call Wednesday's matchup with the Cornhuskers. All of USC's games also are available live on ESPN Radio and with audio streamed at usctrojans.com/listen and the USC Trojans Game Day app with Eli Kleinman on the radio calls. In the polls, USC is ranked number 4 in the AP poll and number 5 in the USA Today Coaches poll this week, as of December 24th. The Trojans were ranked number 3 in both the AP and USA Today preseason polls and the national polls for the first 3 weeks of the 2024-25 season, marking their highest preseason rankings since 1984, when USC opened at number 1 after winning back-to-back national championships. USC finished last season ranked number 5 in the final AP poll. Quick hits. Kiki Iriefin and Juju Watkins have scored in double digits in all 12 USC games this season. Watkins has hit at least one three-pointer in the last 7 games. Iriefin and Watkins became just the second USC duo to score 30-plus points each in a game with their efforts versus SLU on November 29th. The first was Lisa Leslie and Tammy Story versus Texas on November 25, 1990. HC Lindsay Gottlieb earned her 300th career victory as a head coach in USC's 123-39 win over CSUN on November 12th. Watkins scored her 1,000th career point versus Santa Clara on November 15th, becoming the fastest player in USC history to reach the 1,000-point mark in her career, 38 games. The previous record was 48 games, set by Cheryl Miller in 1983-84. Watkins's 1,000 points in 38 games is the second fastest in Division I women's basketball history. She is the third player to hit the mark in 38 games, behind 3 other players who did it in 37. Watkins is the 30th Trojan to score 1,000 points at USC. Watkins broke the USC single-game three-point record with 9 three-pointers made versus CBU on December 3rd. Rhea Marshall scored her 1,000th career point on November 9th versus Cal Poly. She became the 29th USC player to have scored 1,000 or more points as a Trojan. Marshall ranks number 3 all-time at USC in career blocks, 260, and number 8 in career rebounds, 980. Marshall has recorded at least 1 block in USC's last 10 games, 25 total in that span. USC has recorded 2 100-plus point games this season, the most since 2 in 1993-94. USC's 124 points scored versus CSUN is the most points in a game in program history. Previous record, 121 versus Southern Methodist on March 1, 86. The 85-point win versus CSUN is USC's largest margin of victory in history. The previous record was 75 points versus UC Santa Barbara on February 27, 1981. USC's 124 points versus CSUN is the second most in Big Ten history, behind Purdue's 129 points versus Kent State on December 8, 1990. USC's win over number 20 Ole Miss on November 4 marked the first time in program history that the Trojans have played and beaten ranked opponents in back-to-back season openers. Also in that November 4 win, USC had two players record double-doubles, Kiki Iriafen and Juju Watkins, in a season opener for the first time since 2010, Brianna Gilbreth and Christina Marinacci versus Gonzaga. In finishing 29-6 overall last season, USC recorded its most wins since going 31-5 in 1985-86 under head coach Linda Sharp. Last season, USC earned the program's first number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament since 1986. USC's 2024 NCAA Elite 8 run was its first since 1994. USC's 23 regular season wins last season marked its most such victories since 1993-94. Last action. USC answered a gut check in Hartford, Connecticut, fighting off a late push by number 4 host UConn to ring up a tense 72-70 victory over the Huskies, USC's first over UConn in program history. The Trojans had led by as much as 18 points early in the second half, only to see the Huskies bite back in front of a crowd of 15,684 at XL Center. UConn had worked its way to its first lead of the game with a 1-point advantage with 4:25 to go, and it was all even at 67-67 with 2:25 remaining. Raya Marshall delivered a key bucket in the paint to lift USC into a lead it would not relinquish despite late free throw looks from the Huskies with 5 seconds left. Juju Watkins' 2 tosses from the stripe with 20 seconds on the clock gave USC a 72-69 lead, and just one of 3 late tosses from the Huskies would fall in a dramatic finish to this top 10 clash in Connecticut. USC nailed 7 first-half three-pointers and held UConn without a bucket from the floor for the final 3 minutes of the first half to build a 42-29 lead at the break. The Trojans were shooting 48.6% from the floor overall to that point, while the Huskies were at 35.5%, and USC was ahead on the boards 22-19 by halftime. Juju Watkins was the only player in double digits through the first half, holding 15 points, and Kiki Iriafen had 9 rebounds in the bank by the break. The second half was a different tale, as UConn heated up to 43.5% overall while landing 4 second-half three-pointers. USC wrapped at 49.2% and had 9 threes hit, while finishing just ahead on the boards 33-32 by the final buzzer. USC was led by Juju Watkins' game-high 25 points along with a double-double from Kiki Iriafen with 16 points and 11 rebounds. Iriafen also had a career-high 6 assists. Back from injury, USC freshman Kennedy Smith hit a career-high 3 three-pointers for the Trojans. UConn had 2 Huskies finish with 22 points apiece in Paige Buchers and Sarah Strong, with Strong pulling in 13 rebounds. Notable. So Juju Watkins, 25 points, and GS Kiki Iriafen, 16, have now both scored in double digits in all 12 USC games this season. With 3 three-pointers made, Watkins has hit at least 1 3 in the past 7 games. With her 16 points and team-high 11 rebounds, Iriafen recorded her 5th double-double in USC's last 6 games and 6th as a Trojan. Iriafen also served up a career-high 6 assists. Fr. Kennedy Smith set a career high with 3 three-pointers made. Smith had missed the previous 7 games following a surgical procedure. With 2 blocks, Sr. Raya Marshall has recorded at least 1 block in the last 10 games. This was USC's first win over a top 10 opponent this season, now 1-1 in such matchups after losing to then-no 6-5 Notre Dame on November 23. USC is now 1-3 all-time against UConn in a series that began in the 2002-2003 season.